The age-old debate within Rolex, 5-digit or 6-digit, which is better? It can't be answered properly without experience owning both and prolonged experience. I've had my Pepsi GMT for about 4 years, made in around 2006 with a D serial number. It has the 3185 movement and not the more rare 3186. This is the only watch left in my collection that was purchased pre-owned. The old school design has a certain charm to it. The old-fashioned numeral font on the bezel, the matte metallic sheen of the aluminum bezel, and the tiny-looking dial markers and crown. And that outdated hollow center link bracelet with the stamped clasp. The pre-ceramic, pre-supercase design wears better on my small wrist, but it doesn't have that easy link extension, so it is slightly loose on me right now. It does have micro adjustment, but that requires a tool. The all brushed bracelet makes this watch more subtle than the modern version, but with the bright lights or in direct sunlight, the case does have some sparkle to it, and it shows you this is a refined watch. This was just serviced 3 years ago and functions perfectly, so theoretically this watch can last several more decades. I'm glad I've had the chance to experience wearing such a watch, but I feel like the negatives are just starting to add up more and more. I can't keep all my older watches as I buy new, so it might be time to exit from this beautiful watch. Comparing side by side, the current ceramic version looks so much more modern. It has a much more modern numeral font on the bezel. The case diameter is 40 millimeters on both, but the broader shoulders of the modern version and the thicker case design makes it feel much larger on the wrist. As a bonus, this one is in white gold and it has a much more hefty weight on the wrist. And the bracelet is much more robust and the clasp is also much more secure. The ceramic bezel will not fade, but the drawback is that the colors are not the true Pepsi colors. The blue has a hint of purple and the red has a hint of pink. But I do like that dark midnight blue color on the dial, which is a unique color across the line of Rolex. So for me at this point, the strong points of the 6-digit version just seem to outweigh the downsides of the 5-digit version. So right now I'm leaning much more heavily towards the ceramic GMT compared to the pre-ceramic. But I still have my 5-digit Submariner date, and this one I'll always have. This is my second oldest Rolex, my second ever Rolex purchase from the authorized dealer. And it still has those old charms of the 5-digit version, the aluminum bezel, the smaller, more trimmed down case design, but it is slightly thicker than the GMT. But being a dive watch, the Submariner date has that larger crown. Both of these pair up very well, and they make a good 2-watch pre-ceramic collection. But I do need to trim down the collection, and this older Pepsi seems like it should go to someone else who would wear it more. I could still enjoy the benefits of having a Pepsi GMT with the modern version, and I can still enjoy the benefits of a 5-digit Submariner date. In terms of which is better overall, the 5-digit or the 6-digit, I think that comes down to the individual sub-collections. I think it needs to go on a case-by-case basis. So for the Pepsi GMT BLRO, I think I prefer the modern ceramic version slightly more than the 5-digit version. But for the Submariner, it's a much more closer decision. Is my 5-digit version of the Submariner date better than my 6-digit version of the Submariner? I think it's almost a tie, but I think my 5-digit Submariner date just slightly edges out the ceramic version of the Submariner. So even though I'm leaning towards the modern version, the pre-ceramic 5 digits also have their benefits. Let me know in the comments which one you like more.